We're gonna call the meeting to order. Sorry, we're just running a few minutes behind here. And we're gonna start with accentuate positive. You going first, Casey? Good to be back at TMS.
Good evening, board. Casey Homestead, principal at Talent Middle School. We have a pretty quick report tonight, but just really wanted to give a shout out to some staff members. And I know it's our first week back after break, and so for all of our staff to make it through break and get here. But I want to shout out Julie Ponder, who's teaching our leadership class. We had a dance on the last day before break, which I questioned timing, but it ended up, kids had a great time, multiple quotes of this was the best day ever. I think us continuing to find ways for our kids to have fun and experience joy together outside of the classroom. And a lot of staff that helped volunteer, a lot of staff that showed their dance moves as well. Not to point anyone out. And then as part of the dance, Vanessa Jimenez, she's one of our staff and also is a DJ, which was not part of the interview or anything like that. But she DJ'd the dance and added such a fun element to the dance. Shout out to Richard Bird and Lori Evans. We are kind of getting knee deep into the testing world for state testing and just their work and helping coordinate, making sure it's organized and running smoothly. And then last but not least, and they're here in this room, but Liz Fletcher and Bree Bates are counselors here. And I kind of talked about, we had a training today that I got the opportunity to be with this amazing group. But just their courage and willingness to sit in the weight of the fullness of our students' experiences. It's heavy, it's beautiful, it's hard, it's crazy, all the things. And I think the amount that they carry at times in that is a lot. And so just want to thank them for that. And then also just they're system thinkers. And there are a lot of systems that I'm excited to improve here at this school. And we'll be relying on them in that process and that journey and trying to impact all kids. So thank you.
You're welcome. Hey, good evening, board. It's good to see everybody. Shauna Schleif, principal at Phoenix Elementary School. I want to give a big shout out to Laura Millette and Maria Lee. We had a spring break camp over spring break for 22 of our students who are at PES, both that Thursday, Friday, and then Tuesday through Friday from 8, I think they were 9 to 2:30. And a big shout out to Talent Maker City for providing really amazing, just fun learning opportunities. The kids loved it, the adults loved it. I want to also give a big shout out to our custodians because, you know, PES is a hub. There's things happening there all of the time. And so our custodians really work around and help keep our school clean despite having activity there quite often in the evening times, on breaks when, you know, traditionally they have a little bit of an opportunity to kind of get caught up on some projects. But so big shout out to Andrew, Malcolm, Dustin, and then Jessica was a sub for us for a few weeks and she did a great job too. So I want to give her a shout out as well. Lastly, tomorrow is National Librarian Day, and so I want to highlight Christy Dixon. She is Crafty Christy. She is our media manager. She handles all of our library, our Chromebook, and all that kind of stuff. But she's also a caretaker for critters. We have butterflies, snails, fish, all that stuff in the library. She just is willing to do anything, and it's such an integral part of our school. So just want to celebrate her tomorrow. I have one other set of announcements. Heather is right now doing orientation because she got accepted into a doctoral program, so did her orientation with that. And so I will be speaking on her behalf for Talent Elementary. She shared that tomorrow is School Appreciation or School Library Appreciation Day, and we want to share our deepest gratitude for Ken Sauerman, our incredible librarian at TBS who brings pure love and joy to our school. In addition to helping our students explore the wonderful world of literature, she exemplifies what it means to be a team player. She steps up and supports whenever and whatever is needed. And as a part of the community outreach work today, the second graders at TBS are knee deep in their service project where they're doing a coin drive for FOTUS, which is the Friends of the Animals, Southern Oregon. Students have been assigned different jobs in the finance, marketing, and research departments and are working hard to bring in money to support our furry friends. Thanks to their amazing teachers, Ashley Quay and Linnea Morales, for all their work on the project, and send your spare change their way. And then finally, yesterday was our leadership team meetings, and the TES leadership teams are amazing. Their efforts show that teamwork can make the dream work. The collaborative efforts of our teams are what make our school a special place to work. So thank you for their staff for their dedication and hard work. That's it.
Good evening, everyone. Ken Fuller, principal at Orchard Hill. Unlike Dr. Lambert and Dr. Lowe, they closed the door if I ever got near an institution for the audience. First, I want to thank Sarah Angstrom, Katie McCormick, and Brad Nelson, who's our PTA president. We had a jogathon just before spring break, and Orchard Hill raised over $12,000, which I thought that was a pretty decent number. So I really appreciate their hard work to accomplish that. Also, I want to thank Dr. Lambert and where's Javier. They both worked with Erica Casarati, and she is our special ed teacher. Earlier this week, we had a really hard meeting with a family experiencing some significant mental health challenges with their child. And wow, Erica is compassionate. She treats everybody with dignity. She knows her stuff. And just sitting there, it's really an honor to work beside Erica. And I think it speaks well to obviously Tiffany's department. And I think Javier, you probably hired her to begin with some years ago, didn't you? Well done. You're welcome. And lastly, like Mr. Santi came to our staff meeting yesterday and presented some data about reading and math achievement and some trends from K through 8 and some strategies that we can implement at the elementary schools to try to bolster our students' achievement. Unfortunately, as a principal, sometimes I don't have the time to dig that deeply into the data, but Aaron did a super job. I'm just thankful that he's here doing that work. And it started some good conversation amongst our staff as well. So that's about it from Orchard Hill. Are you back, James? All right. Thank you.
Thank you. James Joy, Assistant Principal at Phoenix High School. Just some quick shout outs. First of all, to Renee Hansen for leading the trip over spring break to France. I was in her room today and she seemed well rested and relaxed. So, done very well. I'd also like to thank Joe Zabala over here for constantly creating such great content, not only for our school, but for our whole district. He does it in such a positive way, and I keep reading it and being jealous of his ability as a sportsman. So thank you very much. Another shout out would be for our facilities department. I'm amazed at how quickly they respond to some of our requests. I was doing a walkthrough on the track on Tuesday for our Wednesday meeting. Noticed that there were some trees overhanging one of the discus sectors that could come into play, and not critical, but I think you guys maybe trim these branches back a couple feet, and they were out there the next morning and got it done, I think before about 9 o'clock, which is certainly above and beyond what I had expected. So thank you for facilities for everything that they do for us. Speaking of spring sports, they're underway now. We've had a couple track meets and we will have a few more. Unfortunately, I can't figure out how to schedule them on days like today. We said that they're still on days like yesterday, which was a little colder and wetter, but we've still been able to get the track meets in. Baseball and softball start conference play on Friday at Hidden Valley. And just another thing of interest, the boys volleyball team, which is technically an emerging sport for OSAA in the state. I'm sure it will be becoming a sanctioned sport very quickly. Road X, the facility in Medford, is hosting a giant boys volleyball tournament on Saturday. I believe there's 22 teams from all over the state that are coming to play coach volleyball, and we are entered in that. So stop by there if you're interested in watching some boys volleyball. Thank you.
Aaron Santi, Phoenix Down Rising Academy. Just a couple items. I want to throw it back to before spring break. Several of you guys got a chance to come check out Math Night. Huge success. Besides the 2 iPads that we gave away to the district and all the other prizes, PTRA gave away 3,622 pieces of candy. to 3 different children. That was a good spring break for somebody. Everybody came to the estimation station, had a great time. Thanks to Joe, Joe's second shout out. Put together a great video for the night. I'm sure you guys have seen that. Thanks to Charlene for putting all the things together that she did. Also on the testing side, our English language proficiency assessment, the ELBA, is just getting ready to close next week. And I want to thank Maria Lee at the district office and all of our ELD teachers around the district for administering that. That's a ton of work. They have to track down kids all over the place, including at their homes sometimes to get those things done. So those are required by the state. And so I really appreciate the work they're doing to make that happen. And now we're turning our attention to 3rd through 8th grade Smarter Balance assessments, which opened up Monday. So we're going to begin those assessments in the schools starting, I think, next week. That's it for me.
Thank you. Amy Hunt here, food service. And I just want to start with sharing some accentuate the positive results here. In food service in the last month, we got 100% on our EcoSure audits, both in food safety and physical health safety. We just passed our NSLP admin review with 1 minor finding and 0 financial impact. The auditor said, you know, people who we just don't have people that get no findings or 1 finding. If you get 1 finding, you're a superstar. So apparently we're superstars. So we're very happy to have that done. And then we finished off the month of March with our Future Chef event. It was a lot of fun, and I have to give a huge shout out to Chef John Barber. You know, he always comes through and helps me host that event. I don't know what I would do with all 9 kids in just the cafeteria. So having the wonderful facility and having his help to split the kids up, it's always tons of fun. If you haven't ever been to one, we'll have it again. So stop on by. But we had some wonderful recipes and really enjoyed working with the kids. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything from the board?
Well, for spring break, I went to the elementary school, the town elementary school, and had lunch with my daughter. And it was delicious. Everybody was very nice and kind. It was raining that day, so I had recess with them. And if you haven't went and had recess with the kids, I highly recommend it. It was raining, pouring rain, and we were playing Foursquare. They're very serious about their Foursquare. So, yeah, it was a good time, and just thank you to your crew.
Something to anything else? Great. Thank you all so much. Next is student representative report. We have Aubrey here with us.
Just me, I guess.
Just
Okay,
you.
so the first big things is we have a talent show tomorrow at 6 for our Sparrow. And it's a $3 entry fee and all the proceeds go to our Sparrow. So I think there's also, like last year, they had a box that you put money in to vote for the person that you wanted to win. So there's like a box for each act, and then you put money in the box you wanted to win, which was just like an interesting little way to get people to do that. And then on the 10th, we have a student versus staff basketball game that also has all proceeds going to the Sparrow, and it's a $2 entry fee. So I think that's another fun way to donate to our Sparrow.
What time on the 10th, do you know?
I think it's gonna be 6, but I'm not totally sure on that. And then, the teachers are really just helping us get through the last week of the quarter. That's kind of been, a struggle. And also helping make sure that all the seniors have their pirate points, because those are due very, very soon. And I think that's just like the support that we've been getting has been really beneficial, and making a plan if you don't have everything you need done, and that's all I have.
Thank you so much. Okay, next is citizens' comments. Do we have anyone in the audience who wishes to address the board? Is anyone online? Okay. Moving right along, superintendent report. Mr. Barry?
Chair Campbell, I just want to kind of reiterate just my appreciation for this crew out here, and just, you know, what they carry and how they feed their buildings, and so many activities and just our partners that have fun activities for our kids and just, it can be an exhausting and a challenging and, but obviously a time consuming job, but so rewarding and, really appreciate this team. So thank you all. Want to mention the marching band, Color Guard, speaking of activities, are going to be traveling to Disneyland at the end of May 23rd through 26th. Looking at taking 47 students between Phoenix High School and Talent Middle School, with 3 staff members and 7 chaperones. So, we'll be looking to hear, how that trip goes. I want to share sent you some updates. The ADM security bill is miraculously alive still. House Bill 3149 has been amended to a 1-year ADM support and has passed through the House Committee and is looking at going to Ways and Means for funding. We will have an opportunity to kind of advocate for that, and I will make sure that our board and our team knows when that happens. And then finally, as many of you know, really any room Tiffany Lambert is in the fact that she's probably the smartest person in that room. And now she has official credential. And so I do want to introduce Dr. Tiffany Lambert. Working for 2 years and completed her dissertation and just she's such a valuable team member and just really appreciate it. It's a huge honor. So congratulations.
Congratulations. I thought Kent was just being Kent, so I'm glad you can.
Yeah, it's actually.
Like a distinct thing. It's April, April. Fools, like that.
Yeah. Want to make a goat out of us.
That's all.
Okay. Very good. All right. Next, I'm very excited about this and thank you all for being here. We have a program report on comprehensive counseling. I don't know who's in charge. You're okay. You're okay.
All of our time is to focus on our amazing team members here. So
Get a mic.
good evening,
Oh,
board.
yeah. Let's get you a microphone.
It's over there, in case you have a.
Is there a question? Okay.
We might have to comment seconds.
Okay, perfect. All right, so I'm gonna talk back. Some of this is a repeat and some of it might be just a refresher, but really excited just to kind of lay the foundation and introduce our team members here. So we're here to talk about comprehensive school counseling. You can click. I'm just gonna give you a quick overview. If you remember, it's a Division 22 standard. So follow the guidelines around comprehensive school counseling program. Oregon has adopted the ASCA national model. That's the American School Counselor Association. We'll talk a little bit more about that, but we're pleased about that. That's been the Oregon model, and that's a really good thing for strong counseling programs. You can click. The American Association for School Counseling has national standards. So our counselors, just like other teachers in other areas, have standards. These national standards you'll hear about tonight when you hear a little bit about our counseling programs at each level. You'll hear them mention a standard that they addressed in one of their lessons, and you'll also hear them talk a little bit about how they measure student outcomes in attitude, skills, and behaviors. So I just wanted to reference that for you. And this is the standards that our counselors are implementing through our comprehensive program. Not only do we have our ASCA standards and the things that we cover in that way, but Oregon wouldn't be Oregon without additional things that we want to make sure we cover in our schools, right? So Addie's Act, as you know, is comprehensive suicide prevention and awareness. It also falls under the counseling realm, and our counselors are really involved in providing that support and also providing instruction around suicide prevention and awareness. We have new social emotional standards. That's not exclusively a role of a school counselor, but it does fall in the realm of one of our domains in school counseling. And our elementary specialists are here tonight also, or Christian is here tonight, to talk a little bit about what that looks like at the elementary level. And then, as you know, there's also college and career graduation requirement coming soon that obviously will involve school counselors. Let's see, our team. Our team is going to introduce themselves, and really, we have our licensed school counselors here tonight, but we also have an enormous benefit in Phoenix Talent to really have a team of resources. So here on this slide, you'll also see, for example, our elementary behavior specialists that are doing a lot of work of social emotional learning in our elementary schools and how that feeds into our into our comprehensive program. Also, our student services department at the high school, right? That's a team of folks. So I just wanted to shout out all of those people. I also want to shout out and say thank you. The national ASCA's national model really recommends at least one counselor for every 250 students. It's incredibly hard to do, and most schools can't do that. And we put a school counselor into a situation with 600 kids and they can't possibly implement a comprehensive program. We have 2 licensed school counselors at the middle school. We have 3, and that doesn't even include our student services team. We have 3 at the high school. So not only are we meeting that standard, we're exceeding it, and that's really something we want to say thank you for that investment in. I want to introduce Hatching Results. So tonight we have with us Becky Love. She is a professional learning specialist with Hatching Results. Hatching Results is an organization that are leaders in this work. Their function is to support schools and districts in implementing strong comprehensive counseling programs. We have been fortunate to be introduced into the world of Hatching Results with different school counseling programs and resources. And we finished today our 3rd session with Becky and with Hatching Results this year. One of the reasons that our team is going to highlight some stuff for you. So I wanted to introduce you to that. And I want you to hear just a really quick 3 minutes from Dr. Trish Hatch. She's the founder of Hatching Results, and she's one of the original authors of that ASCA national model that is the gold standard of school counseling. Okay, so this is the magic that we have been working on with Becky and with Hatching Results and with our team. So I'm just gonna go through real quick. This is just, we've been working on this overall system. Some examples of tier 1 lessons that our team is either already implementing or refining, lessons that every kiddo is getting. You can go ahead forward. The plan is they're either getting it or we're working on making that part of the plan. Some examples of our tier 2 lessons. Next slide. And this is again where some kids need this. We're going to dig into the data. This is really where our grad pack coaches do a lot of the magic. And again, it's fortunate that we have a goal to be able to do that. Where and when counseling happens is a bit of a puzzle, not a surprise when we're seeking additional time all over the place. So you'll see it happens lots of different ways. Small group, one-on-one, whole group, seminar, classrooms. It's really kind of the puzzle to make it happen. Just shouting out Dr. Hatch again about how, just like any other school program, really allowing counselors to dig into the data and move from helpers to leaders really ensures that we have a guaranteed, valuable, not just random and happenstance who gets what, but all kiddos get this before they leave. Shouting out some of the investments. I mentioned this when I talked about the ratio for school counselors, but I just want to point out all the different ways, some direct and some indirect ways that we're supporting school counseling programs K-12. That includes our licensed elementary behavior specialists, community care specialists, the investment in people, and our professional development work, and our curriculum resources that allow us to have high quality resources to deliver lessons, and then the technical assistance that helps us with the nitty gritty so that we can get the work done. So that investment has made a huge difference in the work we've made, the progress we've made this year. And then without further ado, we are going to hear from each level a little flashlight. They're going to shine a light on a lesson that they may have delivered in their classroom or in their school buildings and share with you some of the standards and how they measured it and just shine a light on their work so that you can hear from them. So without further ado, I think TMS is going to kick us out.
All right. My name is Bree Bates. Can you hear me? Yeah, okay. My name is Bree Bates and this is Liz Fletcher and we are your Talent Middle School Counseling Department. And today the data that we have prepared to show you stems from a tier 1 lesson that we did on signs of suicide. And signs of suicide is an evidence-based suicide prevention curriculum that the Phoenix Talent School District adopted this year. And so we are in compliance with the Addis Act that Kelly mentioned. And this was actually our first year, Liz and I's first year of delivering the signs of suicide. Last year, we did a different curriculum. And as you'll learn later on in the presentation, we learned that the signs of suicide was really effective for our students. So our SMART goal for this particular lesson was at least 3 out of 4 students will be able to appropriately identify and apply the signs of suicide ACT model, given a hypothetical situation. And ACT stands for Acknowledge, Care, and Tell a Trusted Adult. So this is the second year that the Phoenix Talent School District has reinvested in the school counselors at Talent Middle School. 3 years ago, Jordan was there, and then after that, there was a gap year, and the last 2 years, they have reinvested in having 2 school counselors, which we are super grateful for. So there are several reasons why we delivered the lesson on signs of suicide. And so as you can see from the graph, last year in the 23-24 school year, Liz and I completed 25 risk to self assessments. And this year, year to date, we have completed 43. So I just want to acknowledge that the 25 from last year was already a number. And we can't definitively say why we are seeing the increase this year. You know, anecdotally, we have talked with other schools in the area, other counselors in the area, and they are also seeing an increase in risk to self-assessments. And nationally, we know that many of our youth, who are middle school age are really going through a lot when it comes to their mental health needs. And also we might be seeing an increase because, as our second year at the, middle school, we're, hopefully having students who are, we're building those relationships and those connections and having kids who are now feeling more comfortable to come to counselors, with whether they're concerned with a friend or they themselves are having suicidal ideation.
Can I ask a question about the graph? Oh, maybe you addressed it here. I'm just curious are those 43 unique students, individual students, or are you seeing the same student multiple times?
Yeah, they're not 43 individual, but there are some in there that we've maybe done 2 or 3.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, another reason why and I apologize, I want to look at your hand. Another reason why we decided to do, we went into all of the classrooms, so 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade students received this lesson, but we wanted to highlight in our data for you tonight, the 6th grade students. And when we prepared this presentation, the 6th graders had the most suicide or risk to self-assessments completed. As of today, we're seeing 6th and 7th grade both have 15 completed. Another reason is because this is the first time in their school experience that our 6th grade students are having access to that suicide prevention curriculum. And lastly, research shows that suicide is the second leading cause of death for people ages 10 to 14. And obviously those are the students that we are working with at the middle school, ages 10 to 14. Okay, so as Kelly mentioned, ASCA, or the American School Counselor Association, guides the work that we do as school counselors really heavily. And we have standards that we must meet similar to teachers. And so with this lesson in particular, these were the 3 mindsets and behavior standards that this lesson met or aligned with. So a belief in the development of the whole self, including the healthy balance of mental, social, emotional, and physical well-being, positive relationships with adults to support success, and then advocacy skills for self and others and ability to assert self when necessary. Okay, so with the process data, we implemented the Science of Suicide curriculum with a heavy emphasis on the ACT model. And like I said, we did this across the board for the entire school. But our data focuses on our 6th grade health classes, where we delivered this to 135 6th graders, so all of those who were present. And we went in on 1 silver day and 1 blue day, so January 22nd and 23rd. So one of the things that we really appreciated about Science of Suicide was that there was a video and then a discussion for the entire class. And the videos were middle school age students who were talking about and having these discussions around suicide and help-seeking behaviors. There was also, again, a heavy emphasis on the ACT model. And Liz and I created and administered pre and post assessments to measure attitudes, knowledge, and skills. All right, and now Liz is going to go over the results or the data.
Yeah. Thank you. All right, so this is the first question that we asked in our pre and the post. The pre and the post was 3 questions. It was the same before and after. We administered it using a tool called Plickers, in which students could hold up, basically they look like QR codes and we could scan them. We did that because we had 55 minutes to deliver this really high quality lesson and also assess a pre and post. And so it saved us a little bit of time. So the first question was designed to measure their attitudes or beliefs around connecting with the trusted adult. That's a key component of a lot of suicide prevention programs. Which go back. Thank you. Including Science of Suicide. So the first question is, I believe the best thing I can do for a friend struggling with depression or thoughts of suicide is connect them with the trusted adult. So our pre-assessment showed us that 85% of our students either strongly agreed or agreed with that. This was administered using a Likert scale. So it was strongly disagree all the way up to strongly agree. So 85% of students identified agree or strongly agree for the pre-test. That went up to 96% for our post-test. That represents a 13% improvement. And before showing more data, you may be thinking, wait a second, this math isn't mathing. 85 to 96, isn't that 11%? If you could go to the next slide, please. We really wanted to show you the percent change accurately in terms of the improvement or the reduction, depending on the data that we got. The best way to do that is to think of if you had one quarter and then you were lucky enough to find another quarter that increased by 25 cents, but it improved 100% because the total amount of your money doubled. So you're gonna see this in our presentation, also our colleagues' presentation. Rather than increase or decrease, which is the actual percentage increase or decrease from before the lesson to after the lesson, we really want to show you the improvement or the reduction, which is the percentage calculated in relationship to the average, original average score. So it may seem like our math isn't mathing, and we were not math majors, but we do have nothing.
Well, we're trying to improve our math district-wide, so I appreciate that. Appreciate the aside with the mini math lesson, that's important. That's good, thank you.
Yeah, if you just hold middle school me or you talk about math. Before, I wouldn't have not. So our next question measured their knowledge. We really wanted to see a key piece of this program is having students be able to identify warning signs of suicide or signs of depression in their friends or their loved ones. So this question was multiple choice. The question was, what are some warning signs that a person might be thinking of suicide? We wanted to make sure, because there are also some signs of warning signs of suicide or signs of depression that often go under the radar, not only for youth, but for adults as well. So the correct answer was D, all of the above, because we wanted to make sure they understood that warning signs could be sudden anger or intense sadness, major behavior changes. It could be sounding hopeless or feeling like a burden. So on our pre-test, 68% of students were able to correctly choose D, which was the correct answer. After receiving the content, 83% were able to identify the correct answer, which is a 22% improvement. Next slide, please. Thank you. And our last question was designed, was a skill-based question. We wanted them to apply that acknowledge, get, or tell model that Bree mentioned. Basically, it's a way to intervene when you are with someone who seems like they might be struggling with thoughts of suicide or depression. And basically what it entails is you acknowledge that you see some sort of change in them. You show them or tell them that you care, and then you try to connect them, you tell a trusted adult. That's the ACT. So we gave them a hypothetical scenario in which to apply that, and I'll read that question now. You notice that your friend Paul has been withdrawing from friends and activities. Recently, Paul has been posting vague, concerning messages on social media about feeling hopeless and not wanting to be around anymore. You're concerned for Paul and want to help him. What should you do? So the correct answer was B, acknowledge that Paul's going through a tough time and tell him that you care. Then tell a trusted adult like a teacher or counselor so Paul can get the help that he needs. In our pre-test, 61% of students were able to correctly apply that skill. After receiving the curriculum, 78% were able to identify that, which is an improvement of 28%. So that was the data from our pre and post. And our next slide harkens back to our SMART goal, which if you remember when we talked about that, we were hoping that 3 out of 4 students could be able to apply that ACT model. So that's what this first graph represents, is we were hoping for 75%. We met and exceeded our goal a little bit because 70 to 80% of our students were able to do that. So some of our findings and implications from trying out signs of suicide for us for the first time is that students were really, really engaged in this material. And we were a little bit concerned about that. SOS is great in that it does have students that are their age sharing their experience. But we were worried it might be a little formulaic because it is video discussion for 55 minutes, and middle schoolers are known for their attention span. However, we found that they were highly engaged. The discussion was really rich. It was actually a little bit tricky to even, cut them off to keep moving through the content. We also discovered that we have a really strong culture of help seeking at TMS. Even before receiving the curriculum, 85% of students endorsed going to a trusted adult if they had a friend who was exhibiting this warning signs. After receiving the curriculum, that was 96%. So that's very heartening for us to see. We also found something that was just amazing to hear from students. Part of this lesson entails asking students who at their school might be a trusted adult. Our students named so many staff from all positions, all levels. It was such a wide variety, and it was another really amazing, heartening thing to see that our staff are really prioritizing relationships, and that's really making a difference in students' lives. And that was a really beautiful piece of this lesson. Some of our limitations that we found by doing this is that this is a one-time intervention. So while it is great and we saw some good data, it happens one time. And if we're doing 43 risk assessments in a year, then it really does behoove us to think of what else do we need to do to support our students and our families. Another thing that we noticed is that it does not have a parent or guardian component, but we did send home resources. We sent it out in our newsletter, we sent out home emails. However, we recognize that sending an email is not the best way to engage families. So next year, we think that maybe we want to do some sort of interactive parent family piece, maybe like a caregiver night, something like that, so that we can also get this information into the hands of the people that, you know, are with the child most of the time. We also found, like I mentioned, it's really tough to cover in 55 minutes. The complex topics, students were really engaged. It was a lot to fit in there with the pre and the post. We also offered this, as Bree pointed out, in January. We would like to do it in the fall to get it in earlier. The reason why we did it in the winter is we partnered with our health teachers because health is only offered second quarter at TMS. So, and with our other professional duties, that's when we could make it happen. But we'd really like to move that up earlier. So our next steps would be some of those that I already mentioned, trying to move that up earlier in the fall, creating some like parent night or some sort of component where we're more actively engaging caregivers. We also want to increase our Sources of Strength program. Sources of Strength is a program that Bree and I started at TMS that is also a suicide prevention program that focuses on hope, help, strength, and connection to trusted adults. So it works really, really well with signs of suicide. It's also peer-led, and that is so important because it taps into two of the most developmentally important milestones at this age, purpose and peer connection. So to have that message delivered throughout the year by students, and then Bree and I come in and augment it, would just be like such a beautiful way of spreading more hope, help, and strength throughout the school. So to that end, we are partnering with our administration to see if it's possible to make a Sources of Strength class that would really give our students a chance to hone their leadership skills by also running, they're called campaigns and Sources of Strength. And it's not suicide specific. They don't really talk about suicide as peer leaders. They focus on hope, help, and strength and what gets us through hard times. Then that will leave Bree and I to do the work of actually naming suicide, talking more about it. But it'll be more effective intervention because they've already laid this beautiful groundwork of hope, help, and strength in their school. And we'll also continue to deliver signs of suicide. That's also both Sources of Strength and signs of suicide are part of what we've written into our Addie's Act. Students who receive this lesson this year will just get a different lesson next year and so on. All right, and so as we wrap up, we'd just like to thank you for your time. Thank you for having us here. We want to thank our TMS staff, especially our health teachers who are so accommodating and flexible. Thank you to our admin for supporting us and helping us get this out. Thank you to Becky for all your support and help. Thank you to our service staff for feeding our middle schoolers because we'd be lost without you. And to all of our families for all the contributions they give to our kids and our students and programs.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, did it change it? Awesome. All right, thank you.
Hola, muy buenas tardes. We are your Phoenix High School counselors. My name is Angelica Mendoza. We got Jordan Ruiz, and then we got Michelle Carlson. So first, we'd like to give a shout out to our Talent Middle School counselors for the amazing work that they're doing at the middle school. We see that impact that they are making when we see our freshmen. They are building that foundation for the social emotional work that we continue to do at the high school when we get to see them. Okay. The presentation that we're going to be going over highlights the school counseling domain under career, college, and readiness, which also aligns with the PTS strategic plan. But working collaboratively is really important to us, and this is how we're gonna be demonstrating that by providing personalized learning, using comprehensive school counseling practices, and also focusing on student strength. Alright, in addition to aligning our goals in our lessons with the district goals, we also had a Phoenix High School student needs assessment that showed how many students did not have an understanding of jobs and careers that would fit their personalities. And the students also indicated that they needed help completing a career interest survey. This is when we took the opportunity as a team to implement a youth achievement word personality assessment, one of the tools through Naviance, which was provided by you all. So thank you so much for that. Research shows that when it comes to learning, motivation, goal, and strategy is in some way related to each personality trait. So this is also research proving that the work that we do and the assessments that we use are important for our work. As Kelly mentioned in her presentation, school counselors have standards that they have to meet, and in our presentation that we're going to be giving, these are the 3 that align with the lesson plan. And then we got Jordan.
Hi, Jordan Ruiz. I'm going to be going over some of our data that we got from our lesson. We gave an assessment, personality assessment, to 407 different students from 9th through 11th grade, and we had some seniors that were in there as well. We did this over 3 days in our science classroom, in between our SBAC testing. So we could help out our teachers fill some time there. And what we did was, in as far as the lesson, what it covered, we had an introduction to Naviance itself. It's a new platform that we have been gifted this year and we're really excited about. So we gave a brief introduction about what it was, all the tools it had, the resources, the different programs that are going to aid our different seniors, from 8th grade all the way through senior year, of course, creating up a profile for themselves. We then created a pre-test so we can gather data. After the pre-test, we then initiated a use of the dashboard itself of Naviance. So we kind of walked them through the usage of it, how it works, what there is. And then as we got through it, we had them go straight to our AchieveWorks personality assessment, which is technically a Myers-Briggs type indicator. We gave them a brief rundown of what that is, the pieces and components of their personality assessment that they would get. Didn't go too deep into that because we wanted them to kind of experience and learn it for themselves. So after they completed their assessment, we had created a worksheet that then they recorded and wrote down different aspects of their results, which included not only their personality type with introversion, extroversion, so on and so forth, but also strengths that they possess within that, areas for growth. And then it also provided different, strategies or recommendations to be more successful in certain areas, whether it was in the learning environment, work, or like within relationships and communication, different things like that. So they were able to record those and talk about that with us in a brief discussion, kind of going around and sharing, this is what I had, this is what I had, what we all had, and different strategies that they intended to use themselves. And then we followed up with a post-test to see some different results, which we then see in some of our data. So when students were confronted with this statement, an attitude question or statement, I believe understanding your personality can impact education, communication, and work. We learned a couple of things. One, at Phoenix High School, we already have a really strong culture around this attitude of understanding ourselves can impact the way we are educated, communicate, and work. We already have a strong belief that this is a true statement, with 96% of students agreeing in some form or another on a Likert scale that they agree or strongly agree that this is true. After the post-test, we saw that there was a 21% improvement in this belief, going not just from, so this is technically actually, it shows not just an increase, but increase in I strongly agree. So we had a number of people say they generally agree, but then afterwards we saw a 21% increase that they strongly agree that this is a true statement. The next piece was a knowledge question, and it has a statement there. I understand which careers align with my personality type. This was going back to the needs assessment. I don't really know, so this was a question to follow it up with. In this, we saw that initially in the pretest, we had 70% saying, yeah, we agree in some form or fashion that we have some understanding maybe. And then after the fact, we saw that this is where the big jump was. We saw a big shift to strongly agree. So there was a 50% increase there, saying not only do we understand, but we really do feel that we have a good grasp on this. We know our personality more, and more than that, we know careers that align with it in some way or another, whether they liked it or not. But yeah, so that's great. And then last piece, as far as the skills go, initially, none of our students had ever taken this before or participated with the Naviance platform, but you see that afterwards, of the 407 students who took it, 97% completed to fruition. And in that, the skill that was really utilized in that is assessment taking itself. Taking an assessment, using the self-reflection to ask yourself, well, what do I think, or what would I do in that situation, et cetera? Is it necessarily something we all just have? And then beyond that, being able to kind of intake and use different strategies around those areas of strength and growth, not always an easy skill to do. So that was also something else they practiced within that. And I'll pass it on to Michelle.
Thanks, Jordan. So to summarize, we saw a pretty immediate positive impact through the data from our pre and post test results. And we are expecting to see the outcome of this show in our student needs assessment that we will be giving students next year, which not only guides the direction that we go as school counselors and the curriculum that we offer, but we get to use this to also help us measure our impact as we support the district strategic plan and the outcome of all of our students being prepared for college and careers. Overall, we felt like the experience of this lesson was pretty positive. A significant portion of our student body had the opportunity to access the Naviance platform, some of them for the first time, and not only complete the assessment, but kind of get to explore the whole gamut of resources that are available within the platform. All three of us had an opportunity to kind of take turns pushing into classrooms and delivering the lesson. We felt that overall our student engagement was pretty strong. I think that's probably especially true for our upperclassmen. High school graduation is right around the corner, and so being able to talk about college and careers just can feel really relevant. Our future planning center staff has seen an increase in students, especially underclassmen, just kind of walking in and saying, I want to talk about the results of this assessment and wanting to find out more about the resources that we have available for them. So overall, just a really positive kind of, we're getting that buzz around Navient in conversations that we're having with students, and that's been a great experience. Some challenges we encountered along the way, not all, but some of our freshmen were maybe not as engaged in the lesson as we saw in comparison to our upperclassmen. For some of our ninth graders, they're still getting settled in at high school and kind of wrapping their head around that experience. And so maybe thinking that far down the road, not everyone is quite ready for that right now. So we're going to take some learning from that and maybe change the way that we deliver this lesson in the future and who we're targeting. As any teacher knows, kind of managing time and the time constraints of working within a bell schedule was something that we always have to work around. Different students work at different speeds. And so for some of our students, being able to fully complete the assessment and really get to dig into the results was a lot to try to do in one class period. So we may look at in future years, kind of seeing how we can stretch this out into multiple lessons for students. And then anytime we're using a new program, always just some small hiccups here and there trying to get started. On the whole, though, I would say, we were pretty pleased with how easy to navigate and access Naviance was for our students. Where we go from here, as we, as a high school team and a district team, continue to develop our tier 1 comprehensive school counseling program. We will be adding in additional lessons using the Naviance platform, especially as we're focusing in on the career and college domain, to build out that scope and sequence. We are looking forward to increasing awareness of this platform and this resource, not just with our students, but also with our families and our staff. And again, as we're building out that scope and sequence, looking at how we can also use this resource and align these lessons with the state standards for Oregon's new higher education and career path skills diploma requirement. Thank you all for giving us time and a space to be able to share the work that we're doing. I do want to give a shout out to our science department for graciously hosting us in their classrooms. Our administration has been so incredibly supportive of us as our working to do this comprehensive school counseling program, and we wouldn't be able to do it without their support. And I do also need to shout out the rest of our student resources team, Tammy Ingerson, Skylar Blinds, and Jesus Ledesma. We wouldn't be able to put in the time and the energy to create this comprehensive program without their support behind the scenes, kind of keeping everything else together for us. So thank you. I'm going to pass this over to our elementary team.
All right, last but not least, elementary. I'm Christian Sinkaitis, I'm the behavior specialist over at Phoenix Elementary School. And we also have Richard Baldwin over at Orchard Hill Elementary School and Zach Whitehell, Talent Elementary School. So they are also our social emotional learning and behavior specialists at those elementary schools. And I'm excited to share with you guys about an approach where what tier 2 could look like as well. So we shared about tier 1 approaches, but this is an example of what a tier 2 lesson could look like at the elementary level. And so this is an example of one of the goals that we did over at Phoenix Elementary School. So this is a tier 2 lesson that was delivered at one of the elementary schools at Phoenix Elementary, in which it was in a 5th grade classroom. And so the goal is to demonstrate an improvement in their attitudes, knowledge, and skills related to the kindness lesson that will be delivered. And students will show a 10% increase in their knowledge and skills using pre and post assessments. And so we targeted a specific 5th grade group, like I mentioned. And so when we looked over at our data, specifically at Phoenix Elementary School, we noticed that 35% of behaviors occurred in 5th grade. So those are the majority of the behaviors. So this is an example where, as social emotional learning behavior specialists, we look at the data and we see where is it that we need to support the most. And so this is an example where we decided over at Phoenix Elementary that this is where we could deliver a lesson at this 5th grade classroom in particular. And so that's the difference between tier 1 and tier 2. This lesson wasn't delivered for all 5th grade classrooms that we had at Phoenix Elementary School. This is only delivered for one classroom as we saw the need. So that's the focus here. And here's a quote that shares research shows that fostering kindness in the classroom improves peer relationships, reduces bullying, and increases students' overall sense of belonging and well-being. And so I'll be sharing a little bit more about what this kindness lesson looked like. And then these were the standards that, as we've been discussing with the ASCA standard, but we focused on students being able to demonstrate acts of kindness towards themselves and others. And as I mentioned, when we're diving into our data, with 35% being in 5th grade, it focused on our behavior notifications, which is our our behavior documentation system at the elementary level, where behavior notifications focus on major behaviors that occur and where there is administration follow-up or follow-up with our behavior specialists. And so we used Wayfinder. So this has been our new curriculum that we've been piloting and have been implementing. And so we implemented a tier 1 classroom lesson from Wayfinder. And we delivered a kindness lesson to this 5th grade classroom that was a 7-day challenge lesson. And it impacted 23 5th grade students. And the lesson was delivered in October. And then what this lesson specifically looked like, basically we had these students create a list of acts of kindness that they would do for themselves, for a peer, a teacher, family. It just related to a variety of different people. And so by doing this, the hope is that they would be able to learn just about kindness, definition of kindness, building on their skills. And so for me, it was just an exciting opportunity to be able to share this lesson and engage our students into this lesson and focusing on building their skills on kindness. And so when it comes to the pre-test and the post-test, this is an example of what a question would look like in attitudes. And so we asked them when giving them the pre-test, a question that shares, I believe it is important to be kind. We had 95% of students that agreed about that for themselves, that they believe it's important to be kind. And then in the post-test, after delivering the lesson, we're able to get 100% of students to believe that for themselves. And so that's a key point, that it is a very high percentage in both sides, and I'll share more later. And then another question would be that we would give on the knowledge side is, what is kindness? And so they would learn the definition of kindness and then be able to answer correctly what that definition was. And so the pre-test, the students scored 71%. And then after delivering the lesson, they scored 81%. And so this is our improvement of 14%, just like what Talent Middle School shared with that calculator. This is the improvement of 14%, even though you might be thinking 10%. And then for skills, this is an example of what a question would look like for skills at the elementary level. When thinking about kindness, your friend looks upset during lunch. What should you do? So this is a scenario based. And so the students that answered correctly on the pre-test was 9%, and the post-test, it was 90%. So they end up getting the same score. So when it comes to our data outcomes, as you can see, the scores are pretty high. And so when you're thinking about what is the data showing us? The data is showing us that this classroom in particular needs support. But what we're seeing is that the data is showing us one thing, but then delivering the lesson and the pre-test and post-test, we're seeing that when it comes to the behaviors and kindness in particular, it's simply showing us that the behaviors that are occurring are by choice and not so much having to build on the lack of skills. And so although there are students in particular that we do need to build skills on, we're seeing that it simply was a choice. They're choosing to be unkind in that documentation that we're getting with the behaviors that we're seeing. And so that's one outcome. But one thing about the lesson though, and we know with Wayfinder, it's something new this year. But I would say a win has been when delivering this lesson, the students were engaged, they were focused. It's a tough classroom, but it was great to see that they were engaged in the lesson and they were able to work together to build this list on acts of kindness. And being able to hear their feedback 7 days after was really great, just sharing the things that they did for their family, whether it was washing dishes without being asked to. And so to me, I think that's a big win, being able to hear about how it went for them during the 7-day challenge. And then some lessons learned and next steps. Not all students were present the day of the lesson. And so we did get the majority of the pre-test and post-tests from our students, but we were missing a few. And so I feel like that could have impacted the data. And then when it comes to implementing more Wayfinder lessons, That's one thing that we're really focusing on at the elementary level. As we know, this is a piloted year with Wayfinder. So our big focus when it comes to tier one supports is supporting teachers to be able to implement Wayfinder lessons, to teach lessons as we have our new SEL standards coming through. And so one thing just throughout this process is we believe it supports tier 2 and tier 3 interventions. And so those are just a couple highlights from that. And just again, just want to thank the administrators for your guys' support and the staff that were able to allow us to teach this lesson. So, and then also a shout out to the school board. Really appreciate all that you guys do, and just thank you for all that you guys do for our district as well.
Questions? Any questions?
I love seeing how it's being implemented at the different levels and the examples that you're giving and bringing that out. I really appreciate seeing kind of the hands-on work and the impact that it's having on students. So no, not really a question, just appreciation for your work.
Did you have something?
No, I was just giving her.
Oh, gotcha, yeah. Thank you for being here, by the way. I have a note of appreciation, and then I have a couple questions. I know we're over on time, but this was one of the best presentations I've seen in my 5 years on the board. So thank you all. I know that this took a lot, just doing the work itself was a lot of work, but then putting it together in a package to share with us was really awesome. And then especially what I loved, you know, we talk about a lot of buzzwords and we work on a lot of different things, and it's so cool to see things like looking at data to determine what interventions you want to do. And then within that, as you're doing these lessons, looking at pre-data and, you know, using data to measure the impact of the work that you're doing is really apparent and impressive. So thank you. I really wanted to especially call out, thank you for mentioning involving our families and caretakers in important lessons that we're giving to kids, especially around suicide prevention. So really, really appreciate that. Couple questions on the MDSS. Can you give me an idea of where we're at with that in our district? If you could put a percentage of implementation on it, where are we at, and what do we still? And in particular, one of the things I'm thinking about is our student information system and whether or not we have we have the means to be able to effectively track this data to know, where our kids are at with with respect to the tiers and everything. That's probably a you question. Yeah. Yeah.
I'd say a short answer is a lot of the work is happening. It's not all cohesively planned out. And so we're really the focus, a lot of tier 2, a lot of time, like anything, is spent on crisis management. And tier 2, tier 3, what's coming up in the crisis of the day, the moment. And in order to use the phrase, stop the babies in the bathwater or stop the babies at the river. I'm not very good at phrases, but you know what I'm saying? That one, right? We have to really build a strong foundation of tier 1. So that has been our focus. And getting those tier 1 lessons, I'd say is we're in the beginning stages of that, so that we have that mapped out for what does that look like for every grade level. It's actually how we finished our day-to-day, really mapping out K5 or K5 and then 6-12, what are guaranteed lessons that will provide across every domain for every kid. And the goal is that we have that ready for next year.
Yeah, I'm thinking about building collaboration, right? Do our teachers know the work that you're doing? Do our classified staff know the work that you're doing so that it can be holistic support? Are we providing time for professional development so that everyone knows that we're on the same page in support of our students?
Yes, and yes, and yes, we'll be doing more.
Okay, good.
It looks a little different, K5 and 6-12, but our 6-12, definitely our counselors are leaders in our buildings and have an opportunity to share those services and supports, and we could always do more of that. really helping people understand the role of a school counselor. There's still a lot of misconception around the role of a school counselor and how they can support. So the more we can get in front of that, the better we can provide a strong support for that, right? And we can be doing a similar fashion in the elementary behavior specialists and how they may be doing more tier 2 and tier 3, but they also can provide a really critical role for tier 1 and what happens in the classroom.
Yeah.
To
Unrelated,
your question about Power School.
what's that? Oh, yes, please, I'd love to, yeah.
So that's really that is a critical component, right? Like being able to really dig into that. We do have that capability in Power School. It is right now sort of different reports, right? As we've heard it in different ways, sort of like, go to this place for this report, go to this place. That's where the data dashboard helps a lot and how we can, get all that data in one place. And actually they have a project they're working for us on right now, which is really meant for the grad coaches to try to pull all this data around attendance, grades, behavior, on track, tardies into one place so that we can pull that report regularly and get it in one place.
Yeah.
Whereas right now that is something that we have to do individually in Power School.
Yeah, okay, thank you. I had another question. Unrelated somewhat to your presentations, but since I have you all here, I'm curious, we talked about tier 2 and 3, how is it going being able to refer for mental health supports? Do you feel like the access is there for our students when they need it? Do you feel like, the support is robust enough to where if you've got a student in crisis, you can refer them and they can get support as quickly and as cohesively as they need to?
We have like Clinica at the high school, which we love and appreciate them a lot. I think I would like to bring up the need for bilingual, bicultural mental health therapists. That is very needed at the high school level. So just wanted to bring that up because that is very important.
Yes, thank you.
And I think I completely agree with that. Also, right now, in our partnership with the clinic at the high school, we have kind of the equivalent of 2 full-time therapists. It's 3 to 4 people kind of splitting time. We have had a wait list of students looking to receive services through the clinic probably since October. And we have students who are still on the wait list who likely won't be able to be seen by a clinic therapist this year. They've been a great partner in that even these students that are on the wait list, they are still, as much as they can, trying to connect with them and get them to other resources that at least they have something for the time. So I so appreciate that resource, and it's that alone is not sufficient.
Maybe it better. Yeah, thank you.
I want to say something. I feel like we're in unprecedented times. I don't think we've ever seen the amount of assistance that's needed for our students as we do right now. And I feel like this is such a key component to impact our graduation rate. And I am so grateful for the many hours that people spend, even in their off time, they come and help. And I'm just so grateful that we have now these new tools, and I can't wait to see in 4 years where we're at data wise in helping those students in these struggles that they have. And I love that we are addressing this at the elementary level and all up through high school, especially. And I'm excited about those 2 new programs that we have that they can utilize. It sounds like they are great tools for helping them become interested in those things, and also connecting them with a career field and giving them some passion about something while they're there to see what's going to happen after they leave the building. I love CTE and I love that we have other options, but I really feel like this can help that transition for them to be successful when they leave us. That's our goal, is to make sure that when they leave our building after 12th grade, that they can function. So anyway, I'm really excited about this, and I was excited about when we first heard about this comprehensive from you, but a while ago, in our school board meetings, and it's exciting to see it come to fruition for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna share on the elementary side, because I was wanted to hear from.
Yeah,
Middle school, but same thing just with La Clinica, it's great to have that as a resource, to be able to get extra counseling services for our students that really need that. And so we have a referral system for that. It's also been great just having our community care specialists to be able to connect with about the extra resources that we have available as well. And it was awesome just the other day during a staff meeting, having the Maslow Project come in and share with our elementary staff just about some of the extra resources that we have around the community. And if for some reason Maslow Project can't, if they can't receive services through the Maslow Project, then able to have them refer a specific case, by case scenario of a student to a different nonprofit organization such as Access. And so it's just great to see as a community, just the different options that we do have. And so that was really great to see just the other day.
We may have taken a little bit more
It's
time.
okay, it's an important topic. Yeah, no, thank you, it's good.
I think we would echo what our colleagues shared, that Clinic is an amazing partner. We have a huge need for bilingual providers, and that's in our area.
Yeah.
I will say, because of our high level risk assessment, the previous high school where I worked at for a long time, we also had a high level of need in that area. And it was not as fluid as it is with Clinic. Oftentimes we would send kids to Jackson County Mental Health, which really, there's a transportation barrier. It can often become difficult because Jackson County Mental Health will screen for the crisis in the moment, but they are not a long-term care provider. And La Clinica has been really amazing with us with, if we have a student who really needs to see it, like if we screen a student that we think is high risk or moderate risk and really needs to see a provider within 24 hours, they will make that happen, which is really amazing and not something I could experience before. Counselors, so
yeah.
I am really grateful that they provided that. We do also see we all need, there's long wait list, there's a high need everywhere in our area. But I do really appreciate because it feels very much more trauma informed to have them able to stay on site, to see the providers who screen them.
Yeah.
Their long-term care provider. And that's just a really amazing piece, and I haven't seen that work so well. I am so grateful for that.
Very good. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. And it's important for us to hear what's going well and I'm sure you hear some of these things, but I hope this is stuff that we can take back in our conversations with La Clinica and continue to advocate, and not just for our own district, but for the region so that our kids have the supports that they need. So thank you all very, very much. Okay, we're gonna do the consent agenda and then we'll take a recess here. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Sarah. Do I have any objections? Hearing none, the consent agenda is approved. We're gonna take a recess. Let's be back here within 7 to 10 minutes. Discussion up to the first item. This Amy's kind of waiting for us to talk about that. If we don't. So she didn't bring it up. Brent recommended it. So, okay. So we're gonna start with I-7 food service contract. So do you wanna?
Yeah, through, and Yasmin's not able to be here tonight, but, she really set us up for success in this whole process, and having an RFP process is, yes, fairly prescribed from ODE, but there's also a lot of logistics that need to happen for us to really do the walkthroughs, have people submit RFPs, and then putting a group together to score and review. We ended up interviewing all three of them as well, which was not necessarily a requirement, but we felt like we wanted to have, had some additional questions going through the RFP. Sodexo was the winning bid for us, and I'll turn it over to Polly to share her experience and kind of some of the highlights of why Sodexo kind of rose to the top on that. And then this will come back for action next meeting.
Oh, great. Thank you.
So, I wanna reiterate what Brent said about Yasmin. Without her, we would have never been able to, have apples to apples in this process, because even though there's like a prescribed, submission that's supposed to happen, especially in the numbers that are presented for the quotes, they did not match up. So she was able to get more information and make that so we could compare them to each other. And so that for me was huge, because I don't know that I mean, yeah, I've had accounting class, but it's been a hot minute. So I don't think I would ever be able to catch all. I'm just so grateful for her to watch out for that. And also her dialogue with the state and knowing what the process was, what we could do, because we never want to do things inside of a box in this district, I don't think. We want to do things that are over and above. So I feel like she allowed us to work with that parameter. And it was a lot of prep for all the participants who were making a decision to get ready, like 3 huge volumes of information to get through. And so I felt like for me personally, that experience, like I would totally do that again in a heartbeat. Like I really enjoyed that RFP process, even though it kind of seemed daunting at first. It was really a worthwhile experience for my own personal viewpoint. I want to say thank you that I don't remember before, but this is the most we've had.
Oh, yeah.
So we had 3 people, 3 different companies bid, and that's the most we've ever had in the district. And so I love that, because then it shows kind of what other places are doing. And also during that time, Yasmin was really proactive at reaching out to not only who, you have a resume when you go for a job and you have these people that you're supposed to contact for reference. Well, we also went outside of that and talked to other people who are using these different companies and what their experience had been, which was really useful information for me to make my decision based on what other districts were saying about all 3 companies that applied. And I feel like I was really grateful to have farm to school kind of represented in our process. That was huge for me, because she brought some really great things to the table that no one would have known in our group for sure, that was really helpful. And so we did get a lot of outside input from other schools who were with Sodexo and then went with another company, or vice versa, where they were at and what their experience was like. So that was really helpful. And then I think what I feel the most passionate about is I don't even understand why we have to have this conversation, but is that local food. We're using local food and having it in our schools. That should be a given. I know we are governed by USD regulations and all these different things, but I feel like this is such a great opportunity for us to support local farms that are here. And in this process, local meant hundreds of miles, from somewhere else. It's not even local to me. So we're supporting our local community and the farmers that are here. And that's such an important piece. I feel like when Sodexo came, so we met once and then we met again, where each company came with their representatives and they could bring whoever. And Sodexo came to the table with a person you'll have to help me with what her name is, from Lincoln County. Patty from Lincoln County, and she actually talked about what they're doing with the farm to school program, and they are actually contracting with local farmers, getting their local beef and bringing it into the schools and making that happen. And I would love to see us do that. I mean, I came from, my dad was a truck driver, but his side hustle was raising cattle, and I would love to see us have, that as an option in our schools. And Sodexo's already paving the way doing this, and I love that they're thinking outside the box and doing that.
Don't we have a board member that has to have?
Yeah, I was thinking of Dawn when they're saying this, like, I miss her, she'd be totally for this, like, yip, and all those guys out in her field, you know? So anyway, I was really excited I was really grateful that I had this opportunity to be on that and to better understand this process, because I had no idea what that entailed, and I felt like, it was very interesting to see, the different ideas, and also, you know, I'm gonna say just bluntly, cut through the marketing of it, of their proposal, but getting to the nitty gritty of what's gonna come to the table. And we have had such a long standing relationship with Sodexo, and we do have employees that have been here in Sodexo for a long time. So anyway, that's my 2 cents about it.
Who were the other two companies that?
So we had, Chartwell, Sodexo, and then I can never remember.
SFE, and they're based out of Arizona, and they don't have a district in Oregon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so there's,
so they,
I think the closest is Idaho where they are. So, yeah, it was really interesting to see.
it was, and I'll just be honest with you, you can see how the performance in this, evaluation summary came out of, all those that scored, and Sodexo, definitely was a winning bid for nearly everybody on that, or pretty much everybody. And what set Sodexo apart was really the commitment to locally sourced food and the commitment to spend grant dollars that are free to us. So some of the and that's where Rebecca from Farm to School came in to say, hey, this is some of the data that, you know, Sodexo companies and especially us, with the support of them, are utilizing these funds for locally sourced and supporting our farmers locally. And to be honest, it wasn't the lowest price per meal, out of the three. Sodexo, wasn't necessarily the lowest, but we had the ability to, with all the other stuff, and criteria, locally sourced food has been a priority for us, and that was a commitment. So, really excited to continue to partner with Sodexo and, all that they, provide. I mean, I know Future Chef, you know, all the opportunities of the innovation that's happening in Lincoln County, and Amy's commitment to really kind of, supporting, our locally sourced food farms is it's exciting. So.
Does the proposal outline like the terms of the contract, or do you still negotiate a contract?
Yeah, it's still negotiated. It's a 1-year contract with the ability to extend,
Okay.
for up to 5 years.
Okay.
And so,
Okay.
yeah, we'll negotiate that contract in those terms as well.
And we'll have that.
Yeah.
Approved. Yeah, okay, got it. Any other questions?
I believe I heard a recommendation in that, all my dialogue, but.
Yeah, we'll be taking action on it,
Next week.
April 17th.
I'm actually thankful that it's not, I mean, this may sound horrible, Yasmin, but I'm actually thankful it's not the lowest price per meal, because that really does show a commitment to using high quality and locally sourced, which we know. In this market, it just costs more to do that, and so,
Yeah.
I'm thankful that.
Yeah.
That wasn't part of a compromise that we as district had to make.
I think they used to make a rule that you had to go with the lowest one.
Oh.
And
Similar
so,
to their
yes.
contracts, like.
And part of the reason why it wasn't the lowest one is a commitment to additional staffing to get contracts with locally sourced. So, that's what set it apart. And really, when you have RFPs, it is a lot of marketing. I mean, I'm sure Amy will agree. It's a hundreds and hundreds of page packet. And so, you know, between those, everybody looks and feels a little bit the same, but when we really brought the teams in, it was Sodexo really was a shining star. So.
Thank you all for your work. Thank you, Amy.
I
Thank you,
just
Amy.
wanted to say something real quick.
Yeah.
I came from a charter school, a Waldorf charter school, and we didn't have a hot food cafeteria. We got cold lunches delivered to the kids who couldn't afford, their parents couldn't afford to pack them a lunch, either because they didn't have time or they didn't have the money for the groceries. And it made such a difference to have hot lunch. And like for me, I'm so passionate about just food in general because food insecurity is such a big issue.
True.
In our country, in a developed nation, it's a huge issue for so many students and they're too ashamed to talk about it. And not only that, but using locally sourced ingredients, you're also contributing to making our world a better place with climate change. And that is like so huge. My family owns a farm and it is like small farming practices are so much better for our world, for our environment and our community. It's just like overall a better choice.
Well said.
Well said.
Thank you. Do you have to graduate?
Yeah. She's like, it's like, get ready to senior item.
I know. Yeah, if you wanna work in education.
Come back to be on the school campus.
Go do, learn, grow, come back.
Awesome, good stuff, thank you.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you, Amy, have a good night.
Appreciate it. Have a great night.
Okay, legislative OSBA update. We're gonna.
So I shared the report, so this could be a short, just little,
Awesome.
update for you guys. And just really thankful that the legislators all gave us additional time. I did not realize when Greg set up the meetings for us that it was a 15-minute meeting and we really only had 1 to 2 15-minute meetings. They were very gracious, 30 to 45 minutes, almost an hour with Representative McLean. We had long conversations. And then also a privilege to be in the room when Representative Marsh and Senator Guerrero presented House Bill 3149. And it's been a while since I've heard fire impacted stories. I mean, we've lived in, we hear, and we're working towards results in overcoming some of those things, but then to go back and hear what happened was very poignant and yeah. So we're really privileged to be there when that was presented and have that support. So
Do we have a long way to go still?
I don't think so. I think that the support for it is pretty strong and Rep Neuron, who's the chair of House Ed, caught us in the hallway. We didn't get to meet with her. We met with her chief of staff and she came in really quick while we were in there. And then we were leaving and she said, Phoenix Talent, I want to talk to you. So she wanted to talk about our pest integration, integrated pest policy. And so we had a 30-minute conversation with her in the hallway at the end of the day, and she stopped us.
Very
So let me just tell you, it was an amazing day. And she said, you know, I think the -2 or -3 amendment that really is what we're looking at for this bill. She said, I think year by year is really kind of how addressing this versus 4 years.
Yeah.
Kind of 1 year at a time, kind
Yeah.
of see.
Got it.
And there is one
Yeah.
district that's really in limbo with legislative things and not being able to rebuild. So
Yeah.
based on some legislative things. So a great day. And we're hopeful that you got our survey email. If anyone's interested in taking a bus up on
Oh, yes.
April 24th, one long day. We've heard back from three representatives from some surrounding districts that are interested. So we're hoping to, if we have 13 school boards in our region, it would be really great if we had 13 representatives.
Yeah.
One from every region,
Awesome.
one from every board in our region go for the day for that advocacy day.
Cool.
So if that's something you're interested in, fill out a form.
Okay.
Let us know.
Cool.
We'll move from there.
Very good stuff. Show Rep Neuron, hey, you get this pass for us, and we'll tell you about our pest
I know.
management.
You know, there was limited testimony on it. They really wanted to get it through and
Yeah.
coming to deadlines,
Yeah.
so there was,
No, that's
yeah,
good.
it was
Sarah,
a great day.
thank you for all the time and energy and effort you spent advocating for our school and for our region, and I'm just so appreciative, and we're gonna miss you so much, so. Okay,
I
can
just
you,
want to add.
Yeah.
I
Oh, yeah.
think you did add, grade three, quarter report, which was
Yeah.
very comprehensive.
It was.
And if you haven't read through it, I suggest you read through it.
Mhm.
And then where we are, and a lot of good news in here, because some of the things that we're advocating for and are promoting are still alive. And I just want to echo Chair Campbell's about Sarah and Don taking the time to go up there. I was on a call with legislators on Wednesday. Pam really mentioned that it was great to see Sarah and Don in the building and having the conversation. So I don't know if they see that all the time, but you definitely made your mark up there. So thank you.
Yeah. Surprise. Awesome. Okay, do we have any committee updates?
Just quickly on Culver Road
Okay.
facility, continue to work through what we talked about in the work session, have a meeting next week with Boys and Girls Club to continue to work out some of those details, and the city of Talon is still processing through all the work that CSA and GCS are going through. So hopefully we hear from that in the next month or two.
Awesome. Next is the superintendent evaluation summary. That's in there for your review. Am I supposed to read it? Okay, I'll read it. I wanted to, but I didn't know if we wanted to say 5, but yes, I'm happy to read it. Okay. Phoenix Town School Board Superintendent Evaluation Summary, 24-25 school year. Dear Mr. Berry, on behalf of the Phoenix Town School Board, thank you for your continued leadership and commitment to our students, staff, and community. Following a thorough review of your self-assessment, board observations, and performance across the 8 professional standards, the board affirms that your performance has been consistently effective or accomplished in all areas. We especially want to highlight your strengths in aligning the district's strategic plan with budgetary priorities, maintaining high ethical standards, and engaging effectively with community partners and statewide leaders. Your advocacy, both locally and regionally, continues to elevate our district's voice and impact. Areas identified for continued focus include strengthening internal communication, supporting consistent curriculum implementation, and deepening equity work across all schools. The board also looks forward to further collaboration around long-term financial planning and staff development. Thank you again for your exemplary leadership and the deep commitment you bring to this work. Your ability to lead with both clarity and compassion has been instrumental in shaping a district culture focused on equity, innovation, and student success. We are proud to partner with you and look forward to continuing the important work ahead together. Sincerely, Phoenix Talent School Board. Thank you, Mr. Berry. Congratulations. Appreciate it. I just want to appreciate, just offer a word of appreciation for this board and for you, Mr. Berry, in taking on a new evaluation process. I love this board so much that we're not afraid to do new, hard things like policy rewrites and board self-evaluation and new superintendent evaluation. So that takes a team effort. It requires a lot of trust between us and between us. So thank you all for that, and thank you for your willingness to do that. And I think that it's resulted in a really thorough, good process that's driving the board forward here. Sure. So awesome.
Amen.
Yeah, thank you, Rick. Okay, SRO contracts discussion.
For your review, each of the SRO contracts are in there. If there is a discussion or some things that you have questions on, please let us know. We have not submitted these to the municipalities yet, but we will change and update the dates and any language that we may want to change. Probably towards the end of the month. So if there's something that you would like to see in there, we can bring it back for discussion. Great. And if there's not, we'll send it on to those municipalities and go from there.
Awesome.
How does it differ from prior?
This is the same exact one, and I'm recommending no changes. But if there's something in there that you see that we can ask cities to do or for our partnership, let me know.
Appreciate that.
And again, as you know, it's been a long time coming to have 2 full-time SROs, 1 full-time at the middle school, 1 full-time at the high school. And over the last couple of years, we've been able to have that with the addition of the full-time at the middle school. And they just do a lot more than police. They are a staff member, a family member, a support to our kids and our staff. So very, very appreciative of the support from the board, and I know our city municipalities appreciate the partnership too.
Do they both overlap to the grade school, the elementary school?
Yeah, so when we do, especially here, I mean, our SRO is out there during pickup and drop offs at the elementary, and same thing with the Phoenix Elementary. It's a little more difficult because Orchard Hills in the city of Medford, but we do both our SROs at Talon Middle School and Phoenix High School go over there and support the drills that they have. So.
Okay, student representative process for 25-26. That's okay. So, Denise says her notes indicate we want to get Caitlin involved in advertising the positions. Want to review the applications during the first meeting in May. And then interview the applicants at the second meeting in May. Have you talked to her? Are we gonna be able to pull this off? You think?
I haven't, but
Okay.
I know that she knows that it's a spring.
Okay, and then are we all feeling good about that timeline?
Do you know about the timing? The timing should be close in with, leadership and ASB type of elections. So having this be another leadership opportunity that's available to students kind of in the spring.
And they would begin the next
They
school
would
year.
begin the
I
next school
think
year.
that personally is a lot better because you miss out on those
First
first
few
few
meetings.
meetings.
Yes. And it gives an opportunity over the summer to really connect potentially or right before school starts or maybe not to help lay the groundwork a little bit.
I 100% agree.
And,
Sarah was a chief advocate for this change.
Well, and also, like, especially because, seniors aren't doing it again. Senior, it's kind of when things in a few ways calm down a little bit. And so there's a little more time to like shoot for the stars with something. I think things might get a little busier for seniors in some ways, but you're not gonna have seniors applying,
Right.
so.
and I also think it's helpful too, that then anyone in the high school, we're not saying, oh, as a freshman, this isn't something available for you at this time. Everyone in the
Yeah,
school, you're not
Yeah.
having to say, oh, not this group. So
Yeah.
it kind of just, I'm still all for it.
I
for
know,
all
I,
of the
you
reasons.
have totally convinced me, yeah, and,
That's right. I've always been on the train.
and also as you're planning your next year too.
Well, yes, I
Yeah.
agree, because I didn't know I was going for a junior year.
Right.
And then I also joined a new sport junior year, and so I was kind of juggling all the things.
Yeah,
And that's a busy year, so.
Well, and I think it'll be helpful too, to be able to have some conversations with those who have done it, that are still around and see the process.
Mm.
Anyway, I'll get off my little.
There's a
soapbox.
long list. Yeah, okay, cool,
Yeah.
awesome.
So what do we need to do to take action?
So do
That's
we
the
need to-
business.
I don't think we need to do anything. I think Brent will confirm with Kaylin and then, yeah, that sounds good.
Girls.
Yeah, okay, next is wait list, or I'm sorry, interdistant transfer spots.
Yeah, this is, wanted to put this on because we continue to get requests in or out so much earlier than we ever have. And so we bumped this up, I think, a full month. And so this is just for information and discussion, will be for action next time, and then we can start processing and work on these, which will help our offices, will help, other families making decisions as well. Again, this proposes no out slots unless it actually is a hardship request. And we do have early or childcare, especially at the kindergarten, which are a lot of the hardship requests. But we do deny some. They do, every once in a while, there's an appeal process, and sometimes it goes as far as the board. But yeah, that's where we are.
I'm curious on requests. I mean, a hardship is a hardship, but I'm thinking of just, the run of the mill requests that we get. Can you put stipulations on those? Like, you gotta come to the high school and tour the school and meet with staff.
So that is something that we have done and will do, especially if they haven't stepped foot on our campus. and they're requesting, say, some of these, incoming freshmen, so. If they haven't set foot on our campus, I mean, we've turned people around to say, hey, this is a good spot for me because of the size, because of the programming. We're walking the hallway, seeing, what it feels like when kids are there. So, yeah, that's something that we do. We don't do it every case, but if it doesn't meet a hardship, yeah, we either deny it, or if it's a question on a hardship or not, we try to get them in front of our kids. Yeah.
I wonder if there could be some sort of crossover with the student, you know, because especially if it was like a link crew leader potentially, or someone who has been at the high school who could join the prospective student throughout the tour, throughout the day, or maybe for lunch or something. And just kind of like sit there and have conversations and questions about, because there's lots of things you don't see on a tour about, like just how a school works and like the schedule, because South has a very different type of schedule than we do, or, you know, things like that. And I just wonder if maybe having a student or a peer to be there as well would be another kind of factor.
And that's the safe space for them to ask questions too as well.
And it's a good point. Definitely if it's happening in the spring, but some of these happen in the summer, but it's
Yeah.
nice to identify some students that are willing to do that, to come in when we have those meetings that are, admin can call and say, hey, we have a
I was
prospective
thinking
student
of it
here.
actually.
Yeah,
but-
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great idea.
Love that.
Yeah.
Middle school specifically too, isn't there a leadership group at the middle school similar? Not, yeah.
They have their leadership or their sources of strength.
Okay.
Really good, yeah.
Awesome. Okay, we already did food service, board meeting calendar. Any thoughts or questions on that?
Shane, would you look at this? No changes.
But it does.
If there was anything weird, you look. I count on you, I know, but not the reason, but I was thinking, gosh, I would keep up with this.
November, we're good with OSBA, doesn't conflict with.
Yeah.
There. Okay, cool.
Actually, is that a Thursday?
Which one?
Yeah.
Is that, we might want to look at that November 6th and OSBA.
Yeah, I feel like the OSTA, it's usually around the 8th or the 10th.
Oh, it is the 6th through the 8th?
Yeah, okay.
So we're gonna have to figure that out.
Do we want to do it Tuesday?
Well, I think that's really this year because it's the same thing, I think.
I think that's.
We just can't, did we cancel it? Or did we move it the next week or we
Oh,
moved it a week?
get it
Double,
next
we moved it to
The
the next week.
Yeah.
Because,
It,
yes, because it gave us a chance to debrief
Mm-hmm,
OSBA the very next week.
Yeah.
Rather than wait till December.
right.
mm-hmm.
So we could move it to the 13th, it'd just be back-to-back weeks.
Yeah,
I think that felt pretty good. I don't know.
it was fun.
November is board month for us, like,
Yeah.
we just do all the board
Yeah.
stuff.
Well, I thought that we had the debrief more at the work session, the next week. So even, I felt like
yeah.
we had the debrief more at the board work session because it gave us a little bit more time.
I
to
think you're
have
right.
the
actually.
discussion
Yeah.
and less on the agenda and really talk about, so I think we still had a board meeting on the 13th and then our work session, the 20th, which was more focused on.
But still have those back-to-back. but
Have those back-to-back,
Have
yeah.
OSBA debrief during the work session.
Yes, that's what
Okay.
we did.
Yeah.
This year we had it on the 7th and the 21st.
Or we made there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were.
Can
in
you just
Portland.
put maybe just an option for us to
Oh,
talk
there's
more
the
about, between the, like, Tuesday, the 4th and, or Thursday, the 13th. That way, when Dawn and Nancy are here, they can
Yeah.
weigh in too.
Michael, I apologize. What did you just say? So I can-
Oh, can we just put for discussion, deciding between November 4th or the 13th? So Dawn and Nancy can weigh in on that. Sarah doesn't get to say.
I will say that sometimes it's hard to move it to different days of the week.
You're right.
Even further
For
out
sure.
like this,
Yeah.
just for
No, that's,
kind of everyone's schedule.
yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point. Okay, yes.
I also wanted to know if
sometimes we move the work sessions to 5 o'clock. Do you want to change any of those times?
I
down?
think by rule, we probably should for work sessions, have them be 5 o'clock, and that way it's just built in. That's my thought. What do you all think? That way it's just, that way we're not changing the time on the fly. It's just.
We always are.
it's
Jab
built
session
in.
as well, right?
Yeah, let's do that. Yep,
Good call, Denise.
good work. Look at us. Okay.
There was one on here that got moved to a Wednesday, because of June. Is that one in June gonna be okay?
Yeah, that'll be okay this year. Yeah, I think this year it is on Wednesday.
Yeah. Cool. We have no action item.
I
Right?
know, it's so weird. I don't think I've ever seen that.
It's the longest meeting without action.
I
items
know,
ever.
right?
We will have action items next meeting. Which, good transition. The,
Hey, in 26 years, I've never seen it.
no action items?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we need a
Don't
flag
we
for
have
that.
items next time?
No, this meeting has no.
Oh, I know this one, but
Yeah.
next time does, so we only have one not do it.
We should commemorate that somehow, okay? Good. We have not had, that's the first time this millennia, according to Rick. Okay. All right, the next meeting's agenda is there for your review. Let me know if you have any questions or comments on that, and we are adjourned.